Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome to our podcast, Soulful As. And I cannot wait to have this conversation with Harman today. She is such an inspiration. She has written multiple books. And today I want to know about her and her journey. So this will be an inspirational episode. So please stay tuned. And Harman, how are you doing?
I'm great, Prableen. Thank you so much for having me today.
This really comes to my mind that you were born in Canada and now you have moved to California. So, how was
Mhm.
that journey like for you?
It's been 3 years and I'm still coming to terms with it. I think the emotional damages that come with moving away from something that you've known your whole life it's very difficult to navigate, but it's getting easier. But I'd be lying if I said it wasn't probably one of the most difficult things I've ever done.
What was Abbotsford like? How was it like growing up? What kind of experience did you have back home?
I mean, Abbotsford is all I've ever known for like the first 25 years of my life. That was where I was born. That's where my family was. My closest friendships were made in that city or town. I mean, it's a city now. It was a town back then. And it's just like when I think of home, it's still that town. And I go back so often to visit and still like I come back to it and it still feels like home. It doesn't feel like, like just another town. So yeah, Abbotsford is.
And your book, Call Me Home, is is such an inspiration. Do you want to share a few lines that reminds you of home and so that people can get to know about a few lines from your book. Yeah.
Honestly, I don't have a copy with me right now. I probably should have had a copy. You have a copy, but
Yes, I
um
can read if you name me if you and then I can read some.
uh, I mean, there's a poem in there called Leaving Your Childhood Home.
Yes.
I'm not sure like what page it's on, but I mean, I can reference it. And it's like a combination of like growing out of childhood, which is all like every person experiences that.
Yes.
And then just like the physical aspect of like physically leaving your home. It was inspired by the doli in like Punjabi weddings, like that idea of like the bride being sent away from her home, which is such a big part of Punjabi culture. That's what it was inspired by. But when I think about this idea of home, that is the poem that comes to mind from the book.
And I want to read a couple of lines from
Okay.
the poem that is Long Distance.
Yeah.
There were miles and miles that separated us, but the space between us was never empty. Wow. So, what inspired you? And in the end, it says, this is where we went to seek God. So, would you also give us a summary about what inspired this poem?
Yeah. Simply put, this poem is inspired by my relationship with my husband. We went through a really difficult time, especially during COVID, where the borders were closed. And I know a lot of couples, especially people who were even further apart, were separated from each other. And we had plans to get engaged, get married, and all of a sudden everything came to a stop. And it was God. It was like, my faith in God that got me through that time. So, in a way, I'm thankful for the separation because it, brought us both closer to God and our faith in God. And that's what it was inspired by. That's why I wrote that poem.
You know, what I learned in my life is that when there is difficulty, only
Mhm.
that's when you seek an answer, or that's when you seek the higher being. Because I
Yeah.
feel like when you're in a comfort zone, what do you
Yeah.
want anyway, right? And
Yeah.
yeah,
And even in Rara Sahib, like, Dukh Daru Sukh Rog Paya, right? Like, Gurbani says, Dukh is the medicine because it brings you closer, while Sukh is like the disease because it takes you away. So, yeah, that's so true. And life really teaches you that.
and I want to know a little bit about your parents. What were your childhood like as you were growing up? And
Mhm.
did you have siblings? And about like As a Sikh, I know there are a lot of a big Sikh community in Abbotsford, but did you
Mhm.
ever felt racism or gender issues back home or even now? Like that is what I know want to know from your experience. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm lucky in the sense where I never experienced racism to the point of like physical confrontation, but it was more like microaggressions, just like the tiny ways in which people would say subtle things. Like for example, like I started working at a very young age at Superstore, like I was 15. And when I started tying at the stud, like now there are so many girls who tie at the stud in Abbotsford and Surrey, but back when I started, there was not very many. So it was a very different time. And especially when I started my first job, that's when I started facing a lot of these microaggressions because most of my life I was in like safe spaces. I was either with family or I was with friends, and you don't experience those things. But once I was out in the world all by myself, that's when I started to kind of like hear like comments about my dastad. And in terms of like my upbringing, I'm my dad's princess. Like I never experienced, like I have a younger brother, so I never experienced them favoring my brother over me. And sometimes actually even my brother says it too. He says like mom and dad favor you over me. I'm so blessed that I was born into a family where I was wanted, because unfortunately, especially women of my generation and before, like there was a lot of unwanted daughters being born, and I'm so blessed to say that I wasn't one of them.
Exactly my story. I have a little brother and and like you said, they listen to me more than him. So I've never felt that burden or pressure of being a girl,
Mhm.
as we cannot say about a lot of other girls out there.
Mhm.
And the thing is that also being empowered felt like it comes from that, like faith from your parents, right? If you
Right.
have supportive parents, if you have supportive family, that's what made us who we are also, right? Like who we are becoming as inspired as we are inspiring other people and we are
Right.
taking the center stage. So
I
what
agree.
does it feel like when you get recognized and you have written a book? We will get back into what and how you came along to write this book.
Right.
But like, what does it feel like when you go on the stage and you get recognized or you get an award of just being there and representing your Sikh community?
Yeah. I would say there's a little bit of imposter syndrome for sure. Like I've been in this space for a really long time, but still I'm still in awe of like, you know, the fact of where I've come. But also, I feel so much gratitude and just so much love for my people, because I'm here because of my people, right? And that's why I write for my people as well, is because like Punjabis, yes, like every community we have issues, right? Like every community has issues, right? But man, when we come together, like just seeing right now in the floods in Punjab, like we are there for each other. Like we talk to each other, we call each other apne, and like that apna like it really comes forward. And I can just honestly say that no one has supported me as much as my own people. And so when I'm up there on a stage and I see my people, I love them so much. I feel so much love just pouring out of me.
That's so true. And I so agree with you because of the word gratefulness. When you were saying that, I was like so full with emotion. And when I see you or other women from our Sikh community being there and representing, and you also wrote, I want to go back to Instagram and actually read that because
Okay.
look, it just came. I just opened
Oh my
my
goodness.
phone without even knowing where I was, and it say, "We do not cut our children's hair, not even the boys." And it says, "It is said, each strand is a thread, the divine one spun with breath alone. Most mornings I sit behind my son and comb what grows without permission, without shame. In this country, where long hair on boys invites stares, I part it gently, as if braiding memory into his spine. I gather his hair like roots still holding the soil of a homeland he's never seen. Then the cloth, worn slow, folded soft, a quiet kind of armor, one pleat for his name, another for the ones who wore there with pride. I do not say much, only prayers tucked like seeds into fabric. Let him grow into this, I whisper. Let the world never teach him to be afraid of where he comes from. May he carry the weight of his crown as if it were light, as if it were his birthright. That poem just resonated with me so much because
Mhm.
my son is 6 years old and he goes to a
Mhm.
Christian school. And he is the only one in the whole school. He goes till elementary, that is till sixth grade, seventh grade. And he's the only one having a Judah. And so whenever he goes out, or with his friends, and they do not have any knowledge, especially because he goes to a Christian school.
Right.
Second, that what his identity is. So when I read this poem, and I instantly connected with you
Mhm.
because I'm like, this is so real and the story of this generation. Because I know that our Sikh community has moved over, 100 years in Canada, right? And I like want to share one of our friends who is now in his 50s is like when
Mhm.
he was little, what the white people would do was like take their Judah like that and would
Yeah.
really bully them,
Yeah.
even going on a bicycle or anywhere, right? So they all cut their hair. So all that generation had to cut their hair because of bullying happening. And I'm so proud that because of you or because of our Sikh community who are coming onto stages, there's more awareness coming about our
Mhm.
community, our religion, our hair. So, what do you want to say about that, Herman?
I think I never really thought about how difficult it might be for men. Um, because men and women we have different problems and struggles, right? Like as a woman, as a god, I struggled with body hair issues, and men don't really face those issues because body hair on men is normal, but then long hair on women is like the norm, whereas for boys it's not. So I never started to think about it until I had my son, and he's a year and a half now, but his gaze are very long, and we live in America, and this is a country that's got very polarizing beliefs, and I worry for him when he gets older. Like, it's hard as it is for like a parent to send their child out into the world, but now he's a little sick boy with long hair. And so, I mean, all you can really do is instill those values of fearlessness within them. And yeah, this poem just literally came from me having these thoughts, and it's actually one of my most favorite pieces I've ever written. Um, it's very new. It's not in Call Me Home, but it I think 100% it will be in the next book.
Also, I feel like the strength comes from our body.
Yes.
My son used to have some nightmares like a couple of months ago, and I always
Hmm.
would do Kirtan Sola with him. But
Yeah.
I feel like setting an intention, like now that he can understand, he's growing, he can understand why we do it and
Yeah.
how it makes a shield around him, how it protects him against all of that. It has helped him so much with that. And also, he was a very shy boy before. And
Hmm.
so in the morning, I always punch bodies with him of Japji Sahib,
Hmm.
like when we're driving to school, and then I tell him that God is with you. Although because he goes to Christian school, it's not like I couldn't put him in a Punjabi school, but
Hmm.
I put him because I want him to make an impact. Right? In Punjabi
Hmm.
school, of course, there is groupsome and he is knowing
Yeah.
people around him. But that's not what I want for him. I want him to have his identity in the world what we live in now. So, but
Hmm.
it's very important to me that he knows his value, that we go to the Gurdwara, that we do the prayers, although he's, getting to know about Jesus in school, right?
Hmm.
Like he's there reading everything from the Bible. So
Hmm.
that is what when I read the poem is like such an inspiration for the young generation. We have come far along in our journey from Punjab, and we do not want to forget our roots.
Yeah. And I think I also want to add another part of why I wrote the poem was also for the mothers, because gaze is something, it's kind of like a plant, right? Like you have to nurture gaze, you have to take care of them because if you just let them be, that's not the natural state. You got to wash them, and when your children are young, it's like you're nurturing it like a plant. And so it's like so many props to those mothers who nurture the gaze of their children. And I wanted to honor those mothers as well with that poem.
You so much. Also, in your poems, you mention about immigrant parents, immigrant students. And
Mhm.
I want to tell the audience that I was also an immigrant student. I came in 2007. So the journey wasn't actually as hard as it is right now, especially the
Mhm.
government sending the students back home and also them not having an employment and going through an exploitation where they had to work with minimum, not even minimum wages, less wages, and sex exploitation, which is the main topic right now, which is
Yeah.
nobody is addressing. I have not seen a single person talking about
Mhm.
the exploitation that has been happening. They're like, okay, you want PR, you want permanent residence, just, have sex and have it, or free rent even. Right? So like that is when, the parents are sending the kids, they were not aware of whatever is happening here. Right? Only when we speak about it, then is when the people are going to know about the real situation that is happening in this day and time. So what is your take on that?
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, I actually have more family back in Punjab than I have here, which is not the story of a lot of people.
Yeah.
And my cousin actually, like, he doesn't want to come here.
Right.
And my parents are kind of like, no, tu aja,
Yeah.
stay. Please, if you are content, if you can make a living, like, there's so many layers to like why Punjabis leave Punjab.
Mhm.
There's a system at work that isn't allowing, like, why are farmers in Canada and California millionaires, but those same farmers can't even support their families in Punjab? It's the system, it's not our work ethic. Punjabis have an amazing work ethic, so there's layers to that. My biggest issue is with, like, our community bashing on these immigrant students. And like what I mean by that is like, yes, you came 20, 25 years ago. Loki, they changed their names from Punjabi names to English names. They cut their hair. And these students don't do that. Right? ਉਹਨੇ ਪੱਗਾਂ ਬੰਨੀਆਂ, right? They wear their clothes. Yeah, sure, they ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਆ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਰਹਿਣਾ ਸਹਿਣਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਆਉਂਦਾ, right? But if you look at the opposite of it, you completely gave away your identity to fit in with the white people, right? So which one is better or worse? And my biggest issue is this idea of we came here 20, 25 years ago, we had dreams, we wanted a better life for ourselves, but how dare this next generation want the same for themselves? And what I always say to people is, why do these Punjabis immigrate? It's because you guys went back and showed them these dreams of this amazing land. You are the people responsible for this mass immigration in a way. So, I mean, there's so many complexities to this issue, right? Like, yes, for some reason, students from Punjab, they're behaving in a way that sometimes isn't appropriate, and that's a separate issue. But the solution is not to not allow them here while we, are successful and we follow our dreams. So it's a topic that I'm really, really passionate about. And anytime I'm at an event that has to do with Punjabi or Punjabi, I always make sure to bring it up. I even have a poem called The Immigrant Student from Punjab. And at the end of that poem, there's just a warning that, yeah, you think you're the good immigrant, but they might send you back too,
Exactly.
right?
And
Yeah.
I'm telling you, it has gotten harder with time. I came in 2007, which is about 18 years now, and it
Mhm.
wasn't as hard then. Employment was easy, getting an employment, like you said, like blending in and stuff. Was a little bit easier. Then now they see you as a group. Now they see you, they do not like you because, okay, like you said, you have dressed up like that or you behave like
Mhm.
that. So we don't like you and you do this and you
Mhm.
do that. So we're
Yeah.
going to just deport you back home. But the story now that I want to address is that the people who are staying, the students who are staying, they're getting their LMIs and they're getting like, my issue is the shortcuts. Okay. It's not that they're here. It's because they do not then go to school. Half of the kids, they do not even finish their studies. And now they want the shortcut. And the shortcut way
Yeah.
is not always ethical,
Yeah.
right?
I mean, even the from the starting point of how they even get to Canada is not ethical sometimes. One of the biggest things that hurts me is these young like educated Guriya from Punjab that could actually stay in Punjab and get good careers are being married off at very young ages. They're told to get their IELTS because, the munde don't want to do the padai. And then they're sent here all alone. And it's like, and that just makes me so sad.
Yeah,
Like
that's
this unknown country, they're just sent off and they're saying like, okay, get pakki, fir sade munde nu, paper bhej di, and that hurts me so much.
Yeah, that is a big responsibility. That is so much
Yeah.
pressure on a girl who's so young. I
Yeah.
think they're only 18 or 19. Like they're not even,
Yeah.
some works with my mom. My mom works in the winner's warehouse, and then she says
Mhm.
they're like having chura and they're only 18 or 19. Like they're
Yeah.
just sent off. And they could not like so okay, coming here in Canada as being married doesn't mean they have their residency. They
Yeah.
still have to study. Like they have a long battle ahead of them to do that,
Hmm.
right? Okay, now I'm going to study. Now I'm going to get the work permit and then I can apply for the spousal visa.
Yeah.
And now I think they're not even allowed for time being for the spousal visa,
Okay.
but that was the case. So a number of girls have come through
Hmm.
that. And my issue is like we were talking in the beginning is not that they're here. Like that is beautiful and amazing that we
Hmm.
have our own community here and we're getting recognized and more people are coming. But it's just like, look at what you're doing to those children, because we
Yeah.
are grooving them to
Yeah.
just go there and doing that, since their childhood. Oh, just do IELTS and go there. You are going to do IELTS and do that. And some people just fail at that. And then
Yeah.
they say that you were a failure. You couldn't even pass your IELTS. You couldn't
Yeah.
even get to that point, or your visa got rejected or anything. If they get to stay back in
Yeah.
Punjab, that is
Hmm.
a big red flag or a failure. So that's why sometimes we put the people in boxes, right? And we're like, okay, tick mark. But that's not like it should be like that. Like every person, like success, right? Like we measure it differently. The
Hmm.
measurement of success shouldn't be just coming to Canada.
Yeah. No, definitely not.
Yeah. So,
Yeah. No,
Armin,
and not to mention that, like, people don't have the money to pay for these immigration fees, right? They're selling their land, they're renting it out, putting it on lease, and that's sad because, land is so sacred. As a Punjabi, Jameen is your livelihood like for most people in Punjab, and now, people are selling it for this dream to that may or may not even come true. So that's just another layer of how heartbreaking it is.
and another thing I want to say, Herman, is you are such an inspiration for women out there, for our Sikh community, because what happens sometimes, like you said, imposter syndrome, everybody has it, right?
Yeah.
But what we tend to do is some people or some of us, even I have done that, like tend to not take the next step.
Mhm.
What made you take the next step? What made you write that book, publish that book, be there on stages? Like, what is your inspiration or motivation?
I mean, it's been different at different parts of my life. When I wrote Call Me Home, my motivation was I was pregnant for a lot of writing Call Me Home. So my motivation was I was about to have a baby and I wanted to get it done. But, honestly put, I just enjoy this. I enjoy meeting new people, sharing my poetry, sharing my work. And then I get to have such meaningful conversations. And this job as an author actually allows me to stay at home with my child. I'm a stay-at-home mom, and that's only possible because of my book, because of my writing. So I treat it as a career, and I also it's like my passion. Like I just can't not do it. So I'm just so grateful that not a lot of people are able to turn their passion into their career. So I'm so thankful to Vaheguru for being given that opportunity.
And who is your inspirational guru? Who do you follow?
Oh my goodness. I don't really like my inspirations are not really like, influencers or like celebrities. It's more like authors, or like old like Punjabi poets, Sufi poets. Like I sometimes wish I could write in Punjabi because like even though like I'm fluent, I can read, write, and understand Punjabi, like my poetry isn't in Punjabi. And man, like I love like Shiv Kumar Batalvi. Like I love like there's just certain things that just can't be translated because if you translate it, it just takes the beauty out of it. So maybe one day I'll be able to write in Punjabi. Inspirations are just like other authors and like just our old like historical authors as well.
Yeah, like Amrita Kaur is one of my favorite.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
She's
Not
awesome.
only that her stories were like Picture, the movie, right? She wrote that book. And but also her personal life, how she was in love with Shiv Kumar and how like so much negativity around her that she had come through. Like it's she's such an inspiration. And as growing up in Punjab, I learned about her. And of course, Shiv Kumar Batalvi's poems are so touching. They're
Yeah.
beautiful, beautiful. Yeah.
Yes.
So, Harman, what is the one message you want to give our audience today?
Wow, there's so many, but I think the most important thing, and I think this is what I mean to convey with my books and I guess my presence, is just it's so difficult to be a Punjabi and a Sikh in the West. And I think just find ways to like authentically show who you are through whichever medium you like thrive in, like whether it's art, poetry, or even like professional spaces. Like find ways to talk about yourself and talk about your people in whatever capacity that you can, because like you mentioned before, there is a lack of awareness, and awareness can be done in so many different ways. And that's what I try to do with my writing in my books, is try to authentically portray aspects of my identity.
You are so right there. In my recent Instagram post, and whenever also I went to do my photo shoot, I'm like, I'm gonna wear my suit. I'm gonna wear Punjabi suit because that's who I am. And it makes me so happy to be in that outfit, to take that chunni. And that's another beautiful part of Punjabi culture is color, right? There's so much color,
Yeah.
there's so much diversity in our
Hmm.
culture. And one thing I love about Punjabis is they are so adaptable and they are so accepting, like of any other
Hmm.
religion. I have never growing up have seen this is like even in school, she's from that religion or he's from that religion. Like there was no sort of, okay, oh, stay away from them, right? So I
Hmm.
love that we are such an accepting community and also we are so hardworking, like
Yeah,
work ethic.
definitely, definitely are.
So when Gore people or white people get like jealous, like look at the hard work we have put and what
Yeah.
we've been through. Yeah.
Yeah, no,
So
definitely. The work ethic is, I mean, I saw my parents growing up, and I don't think these next generations can even, be a percentage of what the people that came before us were. But I think they have instilled those values within us that will probably go on for generations, hopefully.
that's for sure. And our podcast will be, I think, coming out next week. And I want to talk about the floods in Punjab right now. If you can make an announcement to people who are wanting to donate for this cause or for this relief.
Yeah.
Just say a few words for
Yeah, the floods in Punjab. I mean, Punjab is being there for Punjab as we always are. Kind of shows you how self-sustaining our people can be. But there's a lot of organizations. There's a Hamkunt Foundation, Khalsa Aid, United Sikhs. We're all sitting so far away, but we can at least help monetarily. And for me, one of the most important things about this issue right now is also setting the narrative straight. This isn't a natural disaster. This is man-made. This is not an accident. This is, if you want to say strategic. So to, I think, claim it as a natural disaster or like, natural flood, I feel like is a disservice to Punjab and his people. So one way that you can really help is by setting that narrative straight. And there's so many pages on social media that you can follow that are trying to set the narrative straight. But yeah, just keep talking about it. Unfortunately, when our community is going through something like this, usually it's only our community that's talking about it. And that really sucks. I've been looking out, I've been trying to see people from other communities. Not many people are talking about it, but that's okay because we are enough for each other. That's why we call each other apne. But just so important. And it's just so heartbreaking to see the devastating effects on the people of Punjab. So if you can afford to donate, like as Sikhs, apa daswand ਕਰਦੇ ਆ, right? 10% of our earnings, please put your daswand back towards Punjab.
That's so true, Harman. As I want to shed some light on why is it man-made, is like they could have let the water out in the drier months and they didn't, and they let
Yeah.
it, fill.
Mhm.
And now they're saying, oh, they had to open the dam up, but they could have, knowing that the monsoon season is going to come, they could have prevented that. Instead, they just ignored. And so now there's so many districts, more than 10 districts in Punjab that has been flooded. And a lot of people are there, like you said, Khalsa Aid is there, and a lot of celebrities are helping out. But I want to say that even a little donation from you guys will help them a lot, getting somebody a blanket, even the sanitary pads, people do not have those. So getting those little necessities that they want right now would be of great help if you could even donate some of from your earnings. Yeah. So thank you, Harman. I want to say this was such a beautiful episode, and like none other, because you are such a special guest. You are so relatable, and your poems just resonate with me so much. And I can't wait to give this to my son when he grows a little more, so he can relate as well as to the immigration part of it, and also that you have one poem you have about what is Japji Sahib about, like Japji Sahib, Jap Sahib, and all of those
Yeah.
little things that we want to teach our children. And thank you for coming in my studio.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a great conversation. I think we talked about a lot of important things in our community that I think even my followers and your listeners will definitely enjoy hearing. So I'm excited for this podcast to be out.
Thank you, Herman. Yes. Stay tuned, guys. Please keep on following Soulful Us podcast. And I can't wait to share this episode with you guys. And we'll see you in the next episode. Bye.